Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's May 31st, 2015, and this week we're going to be doing a lesson covering a jazz chord workout. This week's question was sent in from Bruce. He's out in Meridian, Mississippi, and he wrote in with this email. I've been getting heavy into listening to jazz, and I wanted to start playing it by learning how to play jazz chords, then eventually lead. Could you put together a popular jazz chord workout video that runs down both the most used jazz chords and shows them being applied in what would be a fairly common jazz progression? From Bruce in Meridian, Mississippi, USA. Well, hey, thanks for writing in, Bruce. Playing or composing chord progressions with jazz chord types is best done by starting out with the seventh chords, then moving on to extensions, and finally learning how to play altered chords. I usually like to get my students to understand that the foundational chords will be the major and minor sevenths and the dominant seventh chords. And once these are well developed, you can add in 9th, 11th, and 13th chords. They're really good to study next. Then there's always the altered chords like the flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, and sharp 5. It'll take a while, of course, to learn all of them, but once you learn these chords, you'll be playing jazz tunes in no time flat. So let's zoom in on the neck and start getting into this jazz chord workout experience. Well, in the first example, I'm going to run through two different chord pattern versions of the major 7, of the minor 7, and the dominant 7th. And basically, we're going to put this together in a set of chord changes that you typically see in a jazz number. It's called the 2-5-1, and the one we're doing is going to be in the key of C major. C major is a good key for this because it allows you to sort of jump across the neck and do both these chord voicings that we're going to look at for each one of the changes. Now, let's go through the whole thing. I just want to play it for you so you can hear how all these changes set themselves up. So D minor 7, G dominant, and then the C major 7. You can see there we've got a voicing off the 5th string as well as a voicing off the 6th string. So 5th string, 6th string, 5th string, and then 6th string. Now there's a lot of busy work there if you're doing all those voicings. You could probably benefit the most from this type of drill by maybe just learning one group of chords at a time, maybe even mixing and matching some of them, just doing one chord per measure. But after some time on it, I would probably say, after your skills develop, really try to stretch yourself with it and play all the chord types at once, like this. 1, 2, and then 1 and 2, and then the others for the C major 7. All right, now that's a very popular set of chord changes as well. The 2-5-1 chord progression that we're playing through here in the key of C major. I mean, this is really just found in all kinds of jazz numbers, so it's an excellent set of chord changes to really get down. It's super popular, probably I would have to say the most popular set of jazz chord changes that there is. Now, to let you really get a good idea of how all these chords look, I'm going to pull up some diagrams now on the screen. So there you go, you can look through these. I'm going to play them all down one more time here. So D minor 7, G dominant 7th, and C major 7, both voicings. Now, like I said as well, you could cut them down to just doing one measure for each chord. And just basically work on it where you've got one of those voicings, and then you can maybe start mixing and matching, and then at the end you can try and do all of those ones there. So it's just going to be really busy to have all of them going by, but once your skills get going, then this is a really good workout. So there you go. So there's all the basic minor 7, dominant 7th, major 7th chords in a good workout exercise that takes care of a voicing found off of both 5th string and off of the 6th string. Okay, in the next example, I'm going to run through some popular versions of extended chords. Now remember that chord extensions are created by taking the standard, major or minor or dominant seventh chord and just adding on the extended chord tone located up an octave from the second scale degree or the fourth or the sixth. That's going to create our ninth chords or our 11th chords or our 13th chords. Now, in my examples progression, what I'm going to do here is I've organized a number of different chord voicings that are operating as extensions using these different extended tones. Again, you could probably benefit the most from this study by working on only one chord voicing at a time. Afterward, when your technique for all these chords becomes better, just take them all into account and do your best to perform every extension across all the measures of this chord exercise. Now, let me first of all just run through these chords for you. Now, in the exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to have a D minor 9 down off the 5th string root. We're also going to have a D minor 11 built off the 6th string root. Then we're going to have a G dominant 9th off 5th string root. We're also going to have a G 13 off of the 6th string. We're going to have a C major 6, which is basically like a 13 chord, but we just don't happen to have a 7th involved in that chord, so it's just 1, 3, 5, 6, C major 6, and then we're also going to do a C major 9, so that's got the 1, 3, 5, 7, and the 9 in it. So you put them all together and you got a fairly busy, very cool sounding progression. So it's a great sound, really nice groups of chords. And of course, that's a lot of chords and a lot of fingering to develop on the neck, man. But, after some time, when you practice each of these individually, or maybe, in the beginning, you could just work on doing like a D minor 9, and you could select maybe G13 or something. And then maybe you could pick the C6 to resolve to or something. Just pick individual ones, do some resolutions, maybe even try to mix them and match them a little bit. Maybe start with the D minor 9. You could even just go over to the G dominant 7th that we had from that first batch chords and maybe even resolve to C major 7. Then after some time, add in the C major 9 when you feel more confident with it. But, in the long run, what's going to happen is slowly but surely through practice, these are all going to get integrated and you'll get pretty decent with all of them. Now, I just want to pull up the diagrams of all these and run through this one more time. So here's all the diagrams, and I'm just going to play through them. D minor 9, D minor 11, G dominant 9, G 13, and then C major 6 and C major 9. Well, the last exercise that I have works on introducing a few of the altered chord types. Now, altered chords are created when either the 5th or the extension of the 9th is raised or lowered by a half step, and this process is applied to primarily the dominant 7th chord types. So basically what I've got going on here is in this chord study I've created using these different altered chords. Every chord is going to be altered until the progression resolves on the C major 7 there. I just need you to try to experiment with these chords by limiting their use at first for able to be better developed with the fingerings. The fingerings are a little bit challenging on some of these. So just try mixing these altered chords against some of the other chords that we've played so far. You could do something simple like maybe start on the D minor 7 here, and then maybe move over to the G7 flat 5, and then resolve. Or you could start on maybe a dominant chord that's altered for the D. Instead of it being minor 7, you could make it, let's say, D dominant 7 with a sharp 9. See, it's a very similar sound. So you can hear the real, close similarity there. So you could do, let's say, D7 sharp 9 to G13, and then maybe C major 7. So that's a really nice sounding idea right there. Start just mixing and matching them. Now, once again, I've got a progression that's all dominant chords, off of the D, then going to the Gs that are dominant with the altereds, and then we have the resolution to C major 7 there. So, that's a lot of busy work there. I'll play them all for you though, so you have an idea. So here's D, dominant 7th, sharp 9. Here's D, dominant 7th with the flat 9. Here's a G7, but with a sharp 5. And then here's G7 down here with a flat 5. And then here's the last chord there, that's C major 7. So, playing all those, that's really busy stuff. But it sounds kind of neat, So once you're playing up to a good level, you could do an exercise like that where you're playing all these chords, back to back. But in the beginning, you probably want to mix them and match them a little bit. So anyway, let's get some of the diagrams going on screen right now so you could see all these shapes here. And I'm going to run through them one more time for you. So here's the D7 sharp 9. Here's the D7 flat 9. The G7 with the sharp 5. It's up at that 10th fret there. And then the G7 with the flat 5. And then here's just an open sounding C major 7. So really nice sounding stuff, Well, working on chords can be really time consuming, but it can also be really rewarding since the majority of what we do as guitarists is perform rhythm guitar. And the emphasis we place during our practice hours on learning chords really helps us in countless ways. And to add to this, the technique applied to the chords found in jazz music can be excellent to study since their shapes are pretty challenging and their sound is actually quite unique. So, you add all this together, and those 7th quality chords are found in a lot of different kinds of styles of music. So it's really valuable to be studying this information, and I highly suggest that you put some good time studying these shapes and, use these common progressions I have in this video here as a way to build your basic ability with these chords. Then try playing through some jazz standards, maybe get a real book or something, and take these chords up to the next level in your playing. Super beneficial. They're found in tons of different kinds of songs, and it's really going to help your technique a lot. So anyway, that's about all the time I have for today. As always, I want to thank you for watching and ask you to please subscribe to the channel, and if possible, maybe consider a small donation to help fund the guitar lessons project that I'm running here. Otherwise, have yourself a really great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now. I'd like to take a moment to mention another guitar video lesson project I've started. It's a unique guitar lesson approach that I'm doing online, and it's not like anything I've done before. Best of all, it's 100% free. I've called this approach Guitar Micro Lessons, and they're a great way to learn a few new licks or riffs or chord shapes each week. Now, these Guitar Micro Lessons are quick and easy to learn from. They're very short, with each lesson running between only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in length. They're published to YouTube from Monday to Thursday on my other Guitar Blog Update YouTube channel, and you can either subscribe to that channel to guarantee getting each new episode, or just visit the channel whenever it's convenient for you and check out the new micro lessons in the playlist on the Guitar Blog Update channel's homepage. The Music Reading Phase 1 ebook has over 30 pages of comprehensive project lessons covering the entire 5th reading position on the guitar. Music reading charts and drills will work to help students memorize the placement of the 5th position notes, including important sharp and flat tones. Several original and classic pieces of sheet music will help students to gain a solid understanding for this region of the neck. Rhythm studies, duration examples, plus song and location drills along with 19 MP3 audio tracks makes this one of the best music reading courses available online. Music Reading Phase 1 is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.